There exists a stereotype among Nintendo gamers, the belief that all Nintendo gamers only play Nintendo games. And not just any Nintendo game, only core Nintendo games. We don't play Star Fox, Fire Emblem or Xenoblade. We'll only play Mario, Zelda or Pokemon. And we won't touch anything that isn't connected to the big three. That's me. I'm talking about me. Thankfully, I've improved over the years. I actually adore Xenoblade games, and I really like Fire Emblem Three Houses and Awakening, but I still have a very limited gaming palette, and I wanted to broaden my horizon. That's when I had the idea. One of my favorite franchises of all time is Super Smash Bros. I adore this game, and it's through this game I've been introduced to so many franchises. I don't think I ever would have played Metroid or Kirby if not for this series. So why not take that idea to the extreme? For every character that is in Super Smash Bros, I wanted to play at least one game. And so, that's what I've been doing on Twitch for the last 2 years. Yep, 2 years. I've been doing this for 2 years now. And I'm only 12 characters deep. In my defense though, I am extremely lazy. In this video, I'm going to go over every character who made their debut in the original Super Smash Bros. That means we'll be looking at Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox, Pikachu, Luigi, Ness, Captain Falcon, and Jigglypuff. By doing this, I had 3 goals. 1. Better learn about the characters themselves, such as their personality, behavior, and story. One of the reasons I want to do this was to actually better get to know all the characters who show up in Smash Bros. 2. I wanted to play games I have never played before. The point is to broaden my horizon and not just play the same old games I normally do, and potentially find some new favorites. That said, 3. Revisit some fan favorite games of mine. Or at the very least some games I haven't played in a while. Not every game can be new to me, but I've already played every Zelda game, but I look forward to replaying some classics regardless. With all that out of the way, let's move on to our first character, who is naturally Mario. I had a lot to choose from for Mario. To me, the 3 quintessential Mario games are Super Mario Bros, Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Odyssey. I decided on Super Mario 64 because this was the game that really introduced who Mario is today. He's not just a bunch of pixels like he is in the older games, and doesn't rely on outside help like in later 3D Marios. There's no FLUDD, Luma, or Cappy, so Mario is relying on his own raw skill. A lot of which are brought into Smash Bros for some of his standard attacks. This game is also often credited as the first time Charles Martinet voiced Mario. That alone is reason enough to play this game. Though technically the first video game Charles Martinet voiced Mario in was Mario Teaches Typing.
It's me, Mario!
Donkey Kong!
Moving on to Donkey Kong, the game I played for him was Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and I did this for a few reasons. 1. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is often regarded as one of the best 2D platformers of all time. 2. I had never actually beaten the game before. On the Wii U version, I never finished the last world. And 3. The game shows off his personality quite well, especially in those cutscenes where you're about to fight a boss. DKC is one of those franchises I'm less familiar with, so it was great giving one a lot of my focus.
Link!
Next is Link, and when it came to the game I choose for each Zelda character, I had to be mindful of what games I'd play for each of the other characters. In the end, I chose Breath of the Wild, because that's the version of Link currently in Smash Bros. Breath of the Wild does also give Link some nice moments, especially in the memories when he's protecting Zelda. And it's also really cute whenever he cooks and eats food. Look at this dude, how could you not love him?
Samus!
For Samus, I actually played 2 games, those being Samus Returns and Metroid Dread. The Mercury Steam games really show off just how much of a badass Samus is with all the cool combos she can pull off. She even gets to talk in Metroid Dread. Also, they're just fantastic games, so I wanted to play them again. I love Metroid games, so there aren't many I haven't played. But one of those in particular, I have planned for a later character. Please go play Metroid Dread. I really want this franchise to be more successful than it currently is. Yoshi. Now here's a fun one. Yoshi! I haven't actually played many Yoshi games. It was pretty much just Woolly World and Crafted World. And while I enjoyed both games, I was looking forward to going back to Yoshi's humble beginnings with Yoshi's Island, his first solo adventure. This was my first time playing this game, and it was the first game to introduce many of Yoshi's staple abilities, like egg laying, egg tossing, and his flutter jump. I had a great time with this game, though I found I oddly suck at it. Either way, it was the obvious choice for my Yoshi game. Kirby! I love Kirby! And the timing of this worked out really well, because I actually played Kirby in the Forgotten Land for my Kirby game as choice. The game was brand new at the time, so I didn't have much to base my judgment on, but it was his first 3D Kirby game, and he was his usual puffy self. It felt appropriate for this to be my game of choice. But for safe measure, I did also play Return to Dreamland beforehand. Kirby in the Forgotten Land came out in March 2022. I'm really starting to date this video. Fox was a hard one. I had to keep in mind what game I would play for Falco and Wolf. I very nearly played Star Fox Adventure, and I kinda regret not doing so, since I believe it to be a great showcase of Fox's character and personality, despite its non-traditional gameplay. Unfortunately, at the time I really struggled to stream GameCube games. My AV to HDMI converter doesn't work on 480i games, so I tried Emulator, but it didn't play smooth enough to be worth it. So I instead played the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. This turned out to be a really fun game though, and another game I had never played. I have a very limited experience with Star Fox games, so I look forward to playing more of them. Pikachu! For Pikachu, I wanted to play a game I had never played, but have been actually quite critical of. That game was Let's Go Pikachu. This was the clear choice for my Pikachu game, as Pikachu is front and center, full of personality in this game, and very powerful too. They actually had the making of a really good Pokemon game here, but it was just let down by an absolutely awful wild Pokemon mechanic. Get in the stupid ball! It doesn't help I'm so over Gen 1 pandering. But hey, at least you get to control Pikachu for that little bit. That's something, right? Luigi! Of all the Mario characters, Luigi was the easiest to choose for. The Luigi's Mansion games are all phenomenal, are all fantastic, and I played all of them for this run. By this point, I had GameCube games running a bit smoother, so that was okay. And I also got a special 3DS with a built-in capture card, two of my biggest roadblocks in this series. Luigi's Mansion is so special for being the game to make Luigi who he is today, and the newer games are just brimming with so much personality. Seriously, if you've never played Luigi's Mansion 2 on 3DS, pick it up when it comes to the Switch. It's so fun and charming, it's amazing. For NES, there was only really one game I could pick. Earthbound is a strange game. I actually found the beginning of the game extremely frustrating, and it's a game that punishes you if you ever take a break. It took me ages to figure out how I beat Master Belch. This was my second playthrough of the game, and truthfully, I don't see myself playing it again unless they do a remake to smooth out some of those rough edges. It's a fun, creative, and super quirky game that is held back by a lot of nuisances such as the menu and navigation, and constantly missing attacks. Once you start getting more characters though, it becomes a more enjoyable experience. Captain Falcon! For Captain Falcon, I was determined to play F-Zero GX. This was because I knew it had a story mode and was the only F-Zero game, as far as I knew, to feature characters outside of their racing machine. Remember, getting to know these characters was a part of the reason I started doing this. And as my first real F-Zero experience, it was so hard. The story mode was frankly awful, with some excruciatingly hard missions that honestly had me exploring save states at times. Captain Falcon wasn't even that cool in this. He was lame. No moves were shown, and that left me so disappointed. The core gameplay is pretty fun though. I'd probably refine the track design to include less blind turns and fairer CPU difficulties, and you'd probably have a really good game. And finally, the last character we'll be talking about is Jigglypuff. When I first came up with this video, Jigglypuff was by far the single most difficult character to choose a game for. She's not important in anything. Best I could come up with was either Pokemon Stat for that one level with a singing Jigglypuff, or Explorers of Sky for having Wigglytuff. Neither really did it for me. Thankfully, the Pokemon Company heard my cries and released Pokemon Scarlet, a game where it felt like Jigglypuff finally had some importance. Not only is Jigglypuff able to be obtained super early on, it's also intended to be the first wild Terra Pokemon you encounter. And to top it off, there's also the existence of Screamtail, the ancient paradox form of Jigglypuff. I actually had fun going through the game again with Jigglypuff. With the Eviolite nasty plot and the ability competitive, she held her own surprisingly well. Main thing holding her back was the god-awful speed. Jigglypuff was slower than everything.
And that's all the characters from the original Super Smash Bros. I've just wrapped up finishing off Pokemon Scarlet with Screamtail, the DLC. And that was alright. I enjoyed the DLC. I think I liked it more than most. It was actually quite challenging. It was, and I actually had to turn Screamtail in a proper support Pokemon, so it was pretty useful in the end. The melee characters will be next. That'll be pretty good because aside from like the Zelda characters, who, as I mentioned at the start of this video, I've played most Zelda games. That won't be new to me. For most of the other characters, it will be brand new experiences, I think. Peach, I'll be playing very shortly. I'll be playing Super Princess Peach, which I've never played before. It will be great to see what her original game is like ahead of the brand new one releasing next year. Take a guess on what other games I'll be playing for all the other characters. I think it'll be a fun experience. I'm looking forward to doing the melee characters. I'm glad to actually be making progress with this thing. As I said, I started this nearly 2 years ago, or over 2 years ago actually now at this point. So I am hopefully going to be making more progress. I think my life's stable enough for it. Yeah, what else is there to talk about? Looking at the script right now, I prefer to ad-lib the end of these videos. I think I'm actually recording this before I record the rest of the dialogue. I'm getting all my stuff on the phone. Oh yeah, leave a comment below what you think I'll be playing. Subscribe if you want more. Like the video because I would really appreciate it, and I think that'd be very kind of you. I hope you all had a good Christmas, and I wish you all a very happy New Year. Thank you for watching. Bye.